Hello and welcome to Midday Discourse on Global Television. My name is Samuel Odi, and today we'll be looking at the cybersecurity levy that has been imposed by the CBN to Nigerian banks, and customers have to pay that. So you might just be thinking and be wondering what cybersecurity is. So I'll just, for the benefit of this conversation and for you to have more understanding on the subject matter and why CBN has asked commercial banks to to charge 0.5% of cybersecurity fee on all transactions. Let me just give you a brief information on what cybersecurity really is. Cybersecurity is a practice of protecting computer systems, networks, and sensitive information from digital attacks, damage, or unauthorized access. It involves a range of technology, processes, and practices designed to safeguard digital assets from cyber threats such as hacking, malware, phishing, and other types of cyber attacks. So cybersecurity, basically, it's about protecting our cyberspace, protecting your monies, and from attacks from hackers, cyber threats, and a whole lot of things. So cybersecurity is important because it helps to protect personal information and data, prevent financial loss and damage of reputation, maintain confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data, support national security and critical infrastructure. It also enables in digital technology and transactions. So that's what cybersecurity is, the importance and why it's needed. So in today's connected world, cybersecurity is an essential aspect of personal and professional lives, and it requires constant vigilance and adaptation to stay ahead of the evolving cyber threats. So these are the areas that the Central Bank of Nigeria has looked into, and then they've also come to the conclusion that this fee needs to be paid. The 0.5% fee needs to be paid on all transactions, but yet it's something that is still going to be looked into, because there's a whole lot of controversies coming up by SARB saying they're giving the federal government 48% to reverse all of those statements. In today's edition, I will still be bringing more light to that on why SARB may deem it fit for the central bank or federal government to take this away. So now moving on to why the central bank has imposed it. The Central Bank of Nigeria has ordered banks operating in the country to start charging a cybersecurity levy on transactions. A circular from the Apex Bank on Monday disclosed that the implementation of the levy would start 2 weeks from Monday. The circular was also directed to all commercial, merchant, and non-interest and payment service banks, among others. So these are the banks, these are those people that are involved in this cybersecurity levy, and why they should pay them. So, yet it has not been paid, and people haven't started paying it. Banks haven't started charging it. It's still there. It's meant to commence in the next 2 weeks, says Central Bank. But today we'll be diving deep to get to know why the Central Bank have asked for these levies to be paid. And I have my guest who is joining me virtually, Aliu Adu, who is the Vice President of Nigerian Irish Business School. Hello, Mr. Aliu, are you there? Mr. Aliu Adu, are you there? Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Okay, no, says my producer, and we'll be going on a quick break, and then when we come back, Midday Discuss continues as we dive in deep to know why SARB thinks it's illegal for the CBN to charge for cybersecurity levy, and we also find out why the CBN is asking that customers, that banks should go ahead and charge. And also, we're also going to be looking at the angle while the resources, that the bulk of monies that will be charged, if charged, where it will be going to and what it will be used for. This and more comes on as we return from this break. Please do stay with us. This is Midday Discourse on Global Television. My name is Samuel Odi. Good afternoon, Mr. Aliu Adu. Thank you for joining us today on Midday Discourse. Can you hear me? Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Ali, on Midday Discourse today. We appreciate you, despite your busy schedule, you still made out time to speak to us today. We appreciate you, sir. We'll be going on a quick break, and then when we come back, there's a bit of a technical glitch. When we come back, Midday Discourse continues.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for staying with us, and good afternoon, Mr. Aliu. I'm hoping you can hear me clearly now.
Loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for joining us on Midday Discuss.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. So let's move in. The the CBN, obviously part of the federal government, has issued a circular to all commercial banks that a 0.5% cybersecurity levy should be charged on all transactions. So, sir, what's your reaction to that as an economist?
Oh, well, I look at it as the cybersecurity should be a government responsibility because what they're trying to do is to keep the cyber space secured away from hackers, fraudulent people, and there's a lot of cybercrime going on now, hacking into your account and all that. If the government is undertaking to charge us for cybersecurity, then it must come with an insurance that if anybody is scammed, legitimately scammed, not people that make up stories that they are scammed. If you're scammed legitimately, then the government should compensate you. I think that's the only way it's fair if they are going to start charging us for cyber. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yes, like you made mention, like security, protecting of properties and lives of the citizen of a country is basically the primary right of every citizen, and then it's the responsibility of the government. So what does this tell us? Is it that the government is failing in the aspect of protecting our cyberspace? Is that why they are asking the citizens of the country to pay for cybersecurity levies?
Failing, but I would say possibly looking for revenue
Okay.
to be able to carry out that task. That's why I thought about it carefully, and that's why I said that if they're going to charge the citizens, Nigerians, for cybersecurity, they must come with an insurance. You cannot be deducting, I cannot be paying for something without any form of warranty. Paying for, is unaccountable. So, I will not say they have failed. I will say if they're looking for revenue to be able to carry out that task, but then it should come with some sort of insurance that if anybody is scammed, if anybody is bullied, if anybody is, it will be on the government to get to the bottom of it, bring out the culprits, reimburse, and victim. That's what I would say. So I'll say they're looking for revenue in order to carry out that.
Okay. In the just concluded World Forum, Economic World Forum, where leaders gathered, Mr. President said one of the reasons why he needed to take away subsidy was because Nigeria was running bankrupt. So let's look away from that for now. Since we're looking at generating funds now for the federal government and for CBN to be able to protect our cybersecurity space, a whole lot of bank charges. You get charged for your card, you get charged for text messages, you get charged for a whole lot of things. And looking at the financial sector and then sanitizing it, do you think the CBN is making enough effort to, sanitize our financial sector from all these unnecessary bank charges and then, a lot of persons being debited for something they don't know about?
Well, I think the CBN can do more in my. If banks should be penalized, I was a banker myself for 12 years. I worked in four different banks.
Mhm.
Shouldn't have the authority to debit any persons or person
Mm.
cost or without their authority. And as such, if banks, uh, so rather than anything else, CBN should put more penalty default on banks that go around charging customers or charging people unnecessarily. CBN has regulation. Let's not forget, banks are private.
Mm.
The private sector is driven by profit, and they would, to make their books look good or to appease their shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
I do not support more charges for banks because banks are making a lot of money, and for supporting the real sector, banks are there to recycle our money. Banks are there to provide loans. We're not exactly getting that. Majority of Nigerians, SMEs, are not getting loans. The Dangotes and the big people and the big businesses, and they give them loans because they are expecting bigger returns. They don't give and what have you, a majority of Nigerians. And the uh, blood of every economy, 98%, over 90% of American economy is driven by SMEs
Mm-hmm.
and other countries. Banks to support the real sector, to provide funding at affordable interest rates to the real sector. People's account, because at the end of the day, you're making one private individual rich. Why should we, give you our money on the money and then charge us for that same money? It's too much. It is not fair on Nigerians, and banks should be discouraged to rates. Thank you very much.
Yes. Um, you know, due to Do you think that the CBN asking fintechs to stop onboarding new customers, is an effort for them to stop or sanitize the financial sectors? The fintechs now, like all this mobile online banking, like OPay and the rest of them. So the federal CBN has stopped them from onboarding. Is it a means for them to take them out of business, or is a means for them to sanitize this financial sector? Because a whole lot of
Well,
Nigerians now are resorting to using all this online banking instead of using the normal banks that we know, because of lots of charges that are being charged them, and then a whole lot of SMEs tend to suffer, and most of the time transactions don't go when it gets to a certain period in the month. So they tend to resort to this online banking, which seems to be a bit swift. So now, CBN asking, all these banks now, all these online banks now, not to onboard new customers. Is it a way to sanitize the financial sector, or they are trying to take them out of business?
well, first of all, it is the function bank. It is responsible to uh, uh, to uh, it is responsible to provide the working, uh, including fintechs. So the CBN against fintech because we've had situations of banks going past and we're possibly going to keep having it. So it is the responsibility of CBN to ensure that these bankers carry out that responsibility. They are there to serve Nigerians, and they are not there to dupe Nigerians. And uh, you know, uh, so however the CBN is going to do that, they should do
Mm.
that. If it's by stopping them from onboarding, I don't know what exactly is the reason behind them stopping them from taking on new customers. But if they have found them wanting in any way, they should apply their penalty because at the end of the day, we losing their money. Not only that, the ripple effect is that if OPay, for example, I'm not saying it, fintech bank goes out of business and customer lose their deposit. The ripple effect is that majority of Nigerians are going to lose interest.
Mhm.
Industry would most likely collapse. So it is important for the CBN to even be because I've not really seen their offices of this fintech. We need to see their offices because we have when you have complaints, you hear that they don't even have offices,
Mm.
which is very sad. So the CBN needs to double their regulatory responsibility on these fintech banks. That is my take. Thank you very much.
About the fintech banks right now, the CBN gives approval for them to operate. So I don't know, are there no requirements that needs to be met before all those approvals are given for them to operate within Nigeria? Example now, like you mentioned, most of these fintech banks don't have offices, or we've not seen their offices. We don't have a certified location where you can just walk to and like, okay, this is where I'm going to find this XYZ fintech bank. So don't you think do you think the federal government and CBN now in collaboration need to make sure that these persons that operate in these banks, make sure they have offices and locations where customers can go and meet them before giving out approval for them to operate in the country?
Absolutely. They have to have a customer service desk because you're dealing with the public. And
Mm.
if you're dealing with the public, you must be able to entertain their complaint. It is not good enough to take the public's money and at the same time, you don't want them to complain about your service delivery. So it is important that the CBN should have offices. Sorry, the CBN should mandate all fintechs to have offices around the country, easily accessible to customers, especially in the region that they operate.
Mm.
That is very, very important. Now, one of the requirements of CBN for you to start a bank in Nigeria is you must have a capital base. For commercial banks, it used to be 25 billion. From there, we moved to about 100 billion, and then it goes on to 500 billion for international banks and all that. And that is the requirement.
Mm.
I've not really studied the requirement of fintechs, but I believe the same should apply to them. Before you start a bank, you must know your shareholders. The CBN must go to their branches and do their due diligence. They must have a capital base that they keep with the CBN in case to show that they are capable of going into such businesses. So these are the requirements. And the CBN has to do due diligences, has to find out who the shareholders are, and find out their backgrounds before you grant such licenses. So I'm expecting that the CBN has done their due diligences. Furthermore, I would like to recommend more due diligence and more requirements should be added for fintechs because fintechs operate in cyberspace. Tomorrow, just like what happened to Binance, You know, they can just wake up one day and close shop.
Yes,
What are you
true.
going to tell Nigerians? Now, a lot of Nigerians are using OPay. Anywhere you go now, OPay, Money Point, and all that
Mm,
have done their due diligence on this because they are holding a lot of money a lot of money for Nigerians in billions. And we don't want to wake up one day and say there's no more Money Point, or wake up one day and say there is no more, uh, uh, Pampay or what have you,
mm,
OPay and the rest. So I'm saying that if the CBN finds out that they have not done their due diligence, then they should stop them from opening more accounts,
mm,
rightfully so.
mm,
And I don't know why they've stopped them, but if that is the reason, as a matter of fact, the CBN should, because they're the only police we have in cyberspace in terms of financial services. So it's just like you telling me that you live in a locality, there's no police. Crime
mm,
can be committed. So CBN
yes.
is our police.
Mhm.
So they have to be out there, doing their work to protect Nigerians against cybercrime, and especially fintechs, because they are driven by profit. CBN is there as a regulatory body to protect me and you, a majority of Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Talking about now, let's come back to the charges now and cybersecurity. How does this affect SMEs, given the fact that SMEs now are actually the bedrock of any country's economy, looking at Western America, China, and Israel and other developed countries, they pay more attention to SMEs. So now, a business person now, a small business enterprise person now that's coming up in Nigeria and having this lots of bank charges, he's trying to battle with the hike in fuel, hike in electricity, hike in food price, and now being bombarded with more charges. How can this affect or help the Nigerian economy grow?
Certainly, if you pay more, you're not going to be happy.
Mhm,
It's going to affect your business. I'm not. Uh, I'm not encouraging. I'm not a fan of charging people for cybersecurity. I feel that's a government responsibility.
mhm,
There's a lot of other ways you can charge. Tax the rich. Don't tax majority of Nigerians. They should be after a certain transaction. Maybe if you're transacting over 500 million
mm,
or 100 million, they should now charge you. But you shouldn't. Somebody an SME that is trying to grow, just raise 1 million to start his business, and then you're charging him for cybersecurity. He probably doesn't even know what cybersecurity is. You're
mhm,
not helping. You're probably discouraged. When they hear about that, a lot of them will say, let's forget about the business. And if they
mm,
forget about their business, they're going to go into crime. So I think the government can remodel it and charge the Western Unions, the big banks. Yes, let's charge them. Let the responsibility for banks to fund cybersecurity. Yes, they make a lot of profit. They declare billions of naira in profit. If you're declaring billions of naira, let's take some of that and charge you, and you use that for cybersecurity. Let's not put Nigerians, because Nigeria is a growing economy. Nigerians are struggling. Unemployment rate is very low. So SMEs actually is the bedrock of the economy,
mhm,
because they provide employment for a majority of Nigerians. You go to the Meru water producer and what have you.
mm.
So I don't support charging SMEs, to be very frank. Thank you very much.
Yes, okay. Looking at it now, the CBN have said that the funds gathered from cybersecurity levy would be paid into the NCF account, which is domiciled with the central bank. So my question now is, this is for the government, right? And it has to do with, cybersecurity. Why isn't this levy being paid in bulk? Because the CBN has said the money will be paid on the fifth working day of every month. That is basically the first week of every month. So now my question is, why isn't this money being paid into the federation account, given the fact that it's the government now that are in charge of security. Why is it being paid into the NCF account?
NCA or NSA?
So NCF account, they said.
I'm not aware of that. Maybe I have to do more research on that. I thought it was the NSA's account,
No, it's not
not
even going into
NCF.
the NSA's account. It's going to the NCF account that is domiciled in the central bank. That was the circular that was part of the circular that was released by the CBN.
Okay, that is a new rule. I need to study that. I must apologize.
Okay. All right, sir. Let's move on to the next. I don't know if you're aware that. What is your reaction to that?
Every social or civil organization has a right to his own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that is their opinion. They have every right to it. And if they are fighting for the majority of Nigerians, and that's what Nigerians want, they don't want to pay, so be it. Maybe then the government should look for other means, like I said before, charging the big corporate companies.
Mm-hmm.
Let's charge Shell. Let's charge the big banks, the shareholders. Let's charge the profits of banks. Let's take it away from the ordinary Nigerians. Mm-hmm. Zenith Bank, Oceanic Bank, what have you? All these banks are declaring major profits. Mm-hmm. So, since they are benefiting and they are declaring billions of naira in profit because they made money from customers' deposits,
the backs of
why
Nigeria.
doesn't the bank, the banks of Nigeria, why out of their profits? Instead of saying Nigeria should pay 0.05% of their, why don't banks pay even 1% of their profit? That's okay. I think that would be better put than charging Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Yes. So, what does this mean now to those local business owners now? Because this whole charge is a whole market, women and those in the rural communities that don't even know that they tend to pay a lot of charges. So what does this mean to business locally? Because we have, lots of issues in this country that need to be paid attention to. And again, do you think it's like, given the inflation rates going up on a daily, do you think it's like the best time for the CBN to come up with another charge for Nigerians to pay?
There's never a good time to charge people more, because especially at this time that things are very difficult. So I don't think it's right to charge Nigerians. Let me be frank. It is not. Yes, we understand the government needs more revenue. There should be ways to go after it. There should be other means, but not to charge Nigerians on cybersecurity. That's how I feel, especially people in the rural areas. You will discourage SMEs from going into business, and at the end of the day, the economy will not do well, because it's the economic activity by SMEs that leads to our GNP and GDP, gross domestic product. So we shouldn't toy with that. In my view, we should not toy with that. Let's do everything to encourage Nigerian SMEs and Nigerian businesses. Let's not do anything to discourage them. That is my personal view. Thank you very much.
What can the CBN do different, or the Nigerian government do different, given the reaction by SARB? Should they reverse, or they should push and then give more reasons why this levy is very important to be paid?
I think I've answered that by telling you that they should charge big corporate companies. They should charge the banks. The banks' profit is becoming too much. They should charge them. The First banks, the Zenith banks, the Fidelity banks, they should charge them. Unapologetically, they should charge the banks and the big businesses. They should charge big businesses that do business over 1 billion or 500 million. They should charge them. Not ordinary Nigerians.
It boils down to the people still, because if the federal government now charge the banks, given the fact that most of these banks in Nigeria are actually private, so don't you think it's still going to boil down to Nigerians paying again in a different manner?
No, there's nothing. That's not going to be, because you are charging their profits. And that is why the bank, the central bank, has this responsibility to monitor the charges banks charge their customers. So once they are charging the profits of banks, and they should make it mandatory that no other bank can come up with any other charges without the authority of the CBN, which is what is happening now anyway. So if you are charging the profits of banks, and you have made it mandatory that banks are not charge customers extra charges, how are they going to do it? They have to swallow it. So operating like an oligopoly in this country. They're even friends with CBN and do proper banking. They should. They're making a lot of money. They should support the real sector
Okay, so
businesses, which is
Mr. Ali,
which
we'll
is
be
just
going on a quick
five.
break, and then when we come back, midday discuss continues.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome, Chichi.
Thank you for staying with us on Midday Discuss. My name is Samuel Lodi, and we've been having a very interesting conversation with Aliyu Adu, who is the Vice President of Nigerian Irish Business School Association. Mr. Abdu, are you still there with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, sir. So, please give us your final take and advice, what you think SMEs should do, and what you think the CBN, I know you've been saying a lot about what the CBN should do to charge banks and big companies. So what approach do you think SARB now should use in terms of, dialoguing with CBN and the federal government for them to reverse this 0.5% cybersecurity levy that is being imposed on Nigerians?
Dialogue. They should dialogue the government. That's the only solution. Dialogue the government and let the government see reasons why they shouldn't be charging that distance, and is really interested in improving the lives of majority of Nigerians. That's the solution. That's what I think.
What about SMEs now, as small businesses, and fixing all these charges? How do they go about it so they don't run out of business? Because our Nigerian economy is bent on our SMEs, boosting and then doing really, really well.
They should dialogue the government, because if the government and they are now making it mandatory, so the only way out is dialogue. Is dialogue. That's all I can say. Dialogue the government. I believe the government has the best interest of people at heart. So let's dialogue. And I believe they're listening because, I believe the government is listening. given their recent, especially looking at the devaluation of the naira, the depreciation of the naira. It went all the way to 1.76, but now the government is in and intervened and brought it down. So let's complain. If we have anything, let's complain to the government through dialogue, and I'm sure something good will come out of it. The government is listening.
Mr. Liu, thank you
Thank you.
so much for joining us today. If you have any other last takes that you want to, give us, we would be glad to have that.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I was saying
Hello?
thank you so much for joining us, and maybe give us your final take
Thank
on
you.
the subject matter, the implementation of this. So just give us a final take on what you think.
Hello, can you hear me? It keeps breaking up.
Yes, I can
Hello?
hear you. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today on Midday Discuss. We really appreciate your input on the subject matter, and we hope to have you again soon on Midday Discuss.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Do have a great day ahead.
You too. Have a great day. Thank you.
So we'll be going on a quick break, and then when we come back, Midday Discuss still continues. So we're bringing you the importance of cybersecurity, why your cybersecurity space needs to be very, very secured. We'll be right back. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Midday Discourse on Global Television. My name is Samuel Odi, and I've been having had a very interesting conversation with Aliu Adu, who is a business and economic analyst, and he's also the vice president of Nigerian Irish Business Association. So we've been talking about the cybersecurity and then implementation of cybersecurity levy, the importance of it. So now we're going to be looking more on the importance of cyber security, protection of sensitive information. Yes, you might have some basic information that you don't want to be all out there in the eyes of the public, and you need to protect that. That's one of the reasons I feel the CBN is wanting to impose or implement this levy. But security and anything that has to do with protection, it's the basic right of every citizen, and you shouldn't pay for that. The government needs to be handling that, but the CBN has more reasons why they feel a 0.5% levy should be paid on every transaction. This 0.5% that needs to be paid is excluding on loans and other, kind of bank to bank. For example, now if I have multiple accounts and then I'm trying to transfer money from my A account to my B account, I wouldn't be charged on that. But if I'm transferring from my account to Jackson's account, I have to pay for that. So the government and CBN are trying to look at a way to protect our cyber security space. So why do we need our cyber security space to be protected? One, protection of sensitive information. Cybersecurity measures safeguard personal data, financial information, and intellectual property from cyber criminals and hackers. You might have your documents for your land or for your house or your company that you have, safeguarded digitally. So for the fact that you wouldn't want any cybersecurity hacker or any cyber criminal to tamper with it, you need a very, very strong database. Talking about database now, you need to have a very strong and very reliable cybersecurity agency who is in charge. So now, like my guest rightly said, that just like we have police, in our neighborhood, we have police stations in our neighborhood. The CBN is our financial police, so they have, every right to protect our financial and sensitive, our monies, and then every sensitive document that we might have put in our cyberspace. So is their that's their part, and that's the role that they have to pay. So now what a whole lot of Nigerians are not agreeing with is the fact that they need to pay a 0.5% levy for cybersecurity, which the government and SARB are actually going to have a conversation about in the coming days. And if that keeps unfolding, trust on Midday Discourse will be bringing you those information and how far it's going. Moving on, prevention of financial loss. Cyber attack can result to significant financial losses due to stolen money, intellectual property, or sensitive information. In line with prevention of financial losses, a cyber criminal can hack into your database and then siphon all of your money by just probably using your phone number or your name. That's why you need to protect your BVN and other sensitive information that you must have used to sign up for your financial bank statements, and also all of those angles need to be protected. You need to prevent yourself from sharing all those sensitive information from the public, and it needs to be safeguarded. So that's one of the reasons I feel the central bank is looking to ask Nigerians to pay for this cybersecurity levy, which is actually, I keep mandating and keep saying, that it's actually the primary role for a government to protect and preserve everything that belongs to a citizen in a country, ranging from your property, your monies, and your health being. Those are the primary things that the government needs to pay attention to. So that's the importance of having cybersecurity and then having it being secured. There are more reasons why cybersecurity and financial institutions need to protect their data space. So we feel that the central bank and SARB need to come to an agreement and see reasons why the citizens shouldn't be paying for cybersecurity levy, or they should see reason why the citizen needs to pay or have to pay. So that is what my take is on the subject. I feel the government and SARB and the CBN should all sit on the right table and then reach a consensus on why, if the citizens should pay or the government should take their primary role for protecting and preserving the lives and properties of Nigerians into their own care. That's how much we can bring you on Midday Discuss today. My name is Samuel Odi, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow, same time, as we bring more interesting and exciting conversations. I'll see you tomorrow. My name is Samuel Odi. Good afternoon.